The Liga MX quarterfinals have come to an end, and we witnessed probably one of the craziest Liguillas in recent history. We saw some crazy score lines, some amazing goals, plays, lots of drama as well. But before we get into all the action of the 4 quarterfinal matchups, make sure you guys subscribe, like, check out all the platform links down below. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Charla Football. I'm your host as always, Gerardo. Here are my co-host Tomas, and we're going to talk about the quarterfinals, what went down, and then of course, leading into the semifinals. But first, starting off with probably the banger of a match, bro. The best match, I would say, of the Liguilla so far. It had to be the 6-6 aggregate scoreline between Tomas and America, bro. That was crazy. That was literally one of the craziest games I've seen in recent history.
I mean, it's just... I know it was super controversial.
Yeah.
But at some point, it's what you need to have a good game, controversy. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there just wasn't a better game or a more controversial game this quarterfinal.
Four PKs. What could have been also like six PKs.
I mean, you had Jardine crying saying, "Oh, we should have had 6."
Imagine saying you need 6 penalties to win the game, bro. That's crazy.
That's insane. I get it. A foul inside of the box is a foul, but relying that as being the reason why you lost.
Yeah. And I mean, the one that a lot of people are crying out about too was the Araujo one. Like in the last minute when that was not a PK at all. That was way too soft. And then Cesar Ramos, he was just like. Like Mbappe against Manchester City, if it was like this.
Even Cesar Ramos was making fun of it. I mean, at this point, though, we need to ask ourselves, do America fans live in a different reality to what they think a penalty is?
Yeah.
Because they get penalties so often, they just think everything inside of the box is a penalty at this point.
Every little contact, which it shouldn't be like that, bro. I mean, inside, like, it has to be a clear and obvious penalty kick. I mean, even the other one, the tachones to the player's head, it was, I think, Ramon Juarez's head. You think that was a PK too?
I don't think that was a PK, and I'm going to say it because of this, because he hits the ball, and the ball kind of gets sandwiched between his cleat and his head, right? Yeah. There's no direct contact.
Yeah.
At that point, the call we all got called on growing up was indirect free kick, juego peligroso.
That's exactly what El Cantante onto the NS said too. It was indirect. It should have been indirect free kick.
Because it's not like... There's so many things that have just disappeared out of soccer. The indirect free kick, the obstruction. Mm-hmm. We don't see obstruction calls anymore. Mm-hmm. And there's so many, yet, I mean, they're just not called anymore. And I feel like that's the indirect free kick thing now as well.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it was like divine justice or intervention, whatever you want to call it. Because, I mean, Henry Martin stepped up, and then we all saw what happened. At first, I thought Keylor Navas saved it. But, I mean, he hit the post. He missed it. It was an important penalty for America, for them to get through into the semifinals, pulling off one of the best comebacks I've probably ever seen. Because they were down 3-0 in 30 minutes, bro. I thought it was wraps. I literally posted that. I was like, game, set, match. It's over. There's no way America comes back. And then, like, less than 10 minutes later, a Pato Salas header in the corner, from the corner kick. And then I was like, no way, bro. Like, no way this is going to happen. And then I told you, I texted him. I was like, bro, like, there's no way they come back. And you're like, bro, they're basically tied. They're going to give them 2 penalties.
Yeah. I told him, I texted him 3-1. And I said, Pumas need to score 1 more just to be safe because America is going to get 2 penalties.
Yeah. And they got 2 penalties. And Pumas fans were just lucky that Henry Martin was the one that stepped up. I know he did score in the first leg from a penalty kick. But I think based on the match that Zendejas was having, I'm not sure if he was still in during that time or if they had taken him out. No, actually, he played the whole match. Because I remember he almost cramped up at the end. Zendejas should have been a take it, bro. He was probably one of the best players in the series. Between him and Jordan Carrillo from both sides, they were just balling up in this tie.
Yeah. Now there was this other question that they asked in Fútbol Picante: is this the end of the America dynasty?
I feel like it's been
3-year dynasty, but is this like the cemented in?
Yeah. I mean, it's 2 quarterfinal exits in a row.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Yeah. And this one, I would say, the way they went out wasn't. I would say like a fracaso, even though, I mean, some people would because they should be going to semifinals or trying to get to the final. But I think the way they performed, they showed a lot of character and a lot of like a strong mentality. The only reason they honestly just didn't go through is because overall in the season, they didn't do good enough.
No, yeah, for sure. We also have to think like America going through the semifinals, would they even have been competitive? Look at their bench. Like, look at the players that they have on their bench.
Who would they be playing against? Pachuca?
They would have been playing, so they would have been 7, they would have been Chivas, they would have played 2.
Oh, you're right. Damn.
I mean,
don't
I
know.
think it would have been pretty even actually at that point because even Chivas' bench is pretty much Tapatio players.
Yeah, that would have been an epic game. A Clásico Nacional, the semifinals, kind of repeat what we saw. What was it, 2024?
Close to 2024.
That would have been amazing to see. But overall, like I said, this was a crazy ass matchup. Pumas deservedly go through, but I mean, Pumas fans, I know, were shitting themselves at the end, bro,
I honestly don't think Pumas deserved to go through at that point.
because of how they kind of bowing out.
Yeah, they bowed out. I mean, 3-0 up. Like it's not. You don't think of a championship DNA when somebody's up, they tie them and they still win. You get me? You think championship DNA is they come back, and then they end up winning at the end.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I mean, both of us had originally said America was going to go through. It almost happened. Because we know that Pumas, at the end of the day, they're like
They're
the
choke
Arsenal.
artists.
Same
Yeah,
thing
they're
with
choke
Cruz Azul.
artists.
They're like Arsenal. They complete bottle jobs, but they got the job done. Now they're going to face, I would say on paper, someone that's like equal to them, maybe like not as good. But even though Pachuca did destroy the bicampeón, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think Pumas are going to end up making the final then.
I'm not sure. I think Pachuca has enough to beat Pumas.
Maybe. I just think because Pumas are going to be playing at home, like the second leg. And, I mean, you saw how the environment was in Seúl. That was crazy. Like, it looked beautiful. I've never seen Seúl so packed.
I mean, I don't think Seúl was one of those stadiums where you're scared.
It's just a historic stadium. I don't think
think
it's
it's
imposing in the sense, like,
Because
the way it's designed. Because it's not like it's like right over you. It's so far away. You know what I mean?
I think because you have the track and you have a track and field course and like there's just so much space between the fans and the actual field.
Yeah, yeah. It's not imposing for sure, but they're gonna be loud enough. They're gonna make it. They're gonna try to make it as imposing as they can.
But I feel like if there's any team that's accustomed to winning away, in imposing stadiums, it's Pachuca.
Yeah.
They beat America in their own stadium. They won a championship in 2016 over Monterrey in their own stadium. I mean, obviously we're talking about different generations at this point, right? But they're usually the team that has never had an advantage when we talk about in terms of home. The game could be Pachuca at home versus America, and it's full of America fans.
Yeah.
And Pachuca versus Chivas, it's full of Chivas fans.
Yeah. Because there's no real. I don't know if it's messed up, but there's no real Pachuca fans. I mean, even when they were playing at home versus Toluca, that stadium was empty.
Yeah.
The stadium was empty, bro. So, I mean, I think Pachuca, out of the 4 teams that are in the semifinals, is probably the only team that have nothing to lose.
For
I feel
sure.
like they're just like they're having a good time. They didn't. I don't know if they expected to get there, but they're playing like they have nothing to lose, and they're just throwing everything at Asador pretty much. So
sure.
it's gonna make for a good matchup. Now let's shift gears to the next crazy match. Was Tigres versus Chivas, or Chivas versus Tigres. They played at the Akron. I mean, the first leg, we saw what happened. It was 3-1. It was just a complete mess from Chivas. It was almost a repeat of what happened in the regular season. And I thought it was over, to be honest. I thought Tomas had a lot of faith in Chivas, but to me, it was over, especially because in the first 45 minutes of the second leg, Chivas were just running through Tigres, bro. Like, opportunity left, right, down the middle. Nahuel Guzman made like 4 or 5 clinical saves, and it just wasn't going in. And you just didn't see where it was going to come in from. And then if they didn't score in those first 45 minutes, I feel like, in the second half, like Tigres, they're going to be able to adjust of what was going on or what was wrong, and they're going to lock up. But that just never happened. Chivas still maintained possession, maintained threat, and then it was an 18-year-old kid that fucking sacó Chivas from the mud, bro. He like a homegrown player, like was the one to get Chivas into the next round.
Keep in mind, he graduates in June from high school.
That's insane, bro. This kid is special. Like, we saw it last season when Piojo Alvarado was injured. He was the one that stepped up and he looked amazing. Like, he deserved to start over Piojo when Piojo came back. But then obviously Piojo ended up taking back his spot. And this season, he didn't get as many opportunities as last, but when he did come on, like, he made it count. I think he played he's played less than 900 minutes overall in the season, and he's gotten like 4
He has 4 goals.
4 goals and assists, something like that. Yeah, and to do it in such an important match at that age is just honestly unheard of.
Oh yeah, I mean, going back to the beginning, I told you that Chivas would advance.
Yeah.
Even after the 3-1,
Yeah.
you're saying there's no way they advance. I said they're gonna advance because it's better to have a system than it is to have a strong 11.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of helped me in that favor was that, or in my thought process, was that Tigres is playing double competitions. They're gonna lose a couple players. We saw with Toluca, they lost Paulinho, and Elinho was on the bench. And then we saw it with Gorriarán.
Gorriarán. You said Joaquim also.
Joaquim,
and
center
then
back.
I think there was one more if I'm not missing, but those two are obviously really important for Tigres. Yeah.
And I told you, once they lost Gorriarán, I was like, bro, pretty much it's over.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what I thought. You know, Gorriarán was pretty much the engine Tigres had in that first leg. I mean, he was recovering balls. He was giving these through balls. And it was just something so detrimental to him. Once I saw Vigon was starting, I'm like, Vigon doesn't play like Gorriarán. At least not anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
he's not a little older.
He's not that Vigon from like 2016 that just ran through America, you know? And, I mean, it happened.
Yeah. It was... To me, it was just it was a shocker. I think it was a shocker overall. And, I mean, the way it happened, too, in the span of, like, 3-4 minutes, just le dieron la vuelta. It was 73rd and then 76 or something like that. 73rd or 77th. You know, it was just... Everything happened so fast. And I don't even think Tigres had the opportunity to react from then. Because, I mean, throughout the whole match, I feel like Guido Pizarro was just like, I'm just going to hold on to this lead. They did not want to play. They looked like... I don't know if scared is the right word, but... Their idea of how they wanted to go through the second leg was just like, let me just defend. There's no way they're going to score if we just defend well. But like you said, I think some of those key players really did affect them.
Yeah, I mean, they affected him for sure, but also Guido, if we're going on the Tigres aspect, you can't depend on the other team missing opportunities for you to win a game.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, that's just so counterintuitive. How are you going to... your whole plan should be not to let them have opportunities, not that they miss opportunities. Because you know that giving Chivas the ball, they're going to create opportunities.
Yeah, that's exactly what... Dude, they created so many opportunities. At that point, like, the first 45 was like, there's... Like, this is where La Hormiga needs to be. Like, La Hormiga right here probably would have had at least a brace.
No, for sure.
And, I mean, there was also some controversial calls. I know Marin had scored in the first, like, minute or two. And, I mean, he was offside by, like, his fucking nose, bro.
His headband was fucking too big.
Like, I mean, it was just overall, I think, kind of like how I said the Pumas America, I think the justice went in favor of Chivas. You know, I think they deserved because, I mean, just in the second leg specifically, they proposed the game. They actually wanted to play. And, I mean, throughout the season, we've seen that they are the best team that plays football. You know, maybe not the strongest 11. I would say it would be between Toluca, Tigres, maybe Cruz Azul as well. But overall, like how you said, the system, no matter who is in there, whether it's an 18-year-old or a 35-year-old Sepulveda or whatever, they're gonna make the system work because they've been working on this. And bro, Milito too. Like Milito he's a genius, and the way he just came into this Chivas squad, you know, last season because of a Chicharito Hernandez penalty, like they obviously were this close from just making the semifinal. Now they were able to get through with 5 to 7 key players just missing from the squad. I mean, Milito has done everything right since he's came.
I mean, look, Milito said that this is probably going to sound far-fetched and some people might laugh. He's trying to replicate the system that Pep likes to replicate. Now, obviously, you know, everybody looks up to Pep. Pep is, you know, out of this world practically. But if you look at City, bro, players come in, players go out, and City's always there, you know, up there in the Prem. They're up there winning, you know, these little English cups and then the big one, the FA Cup. But they're always competing. Yeah. And it doesn't matter who's their 9. It doesn't matter who's up there. They're always fucking competing. You know, there's sometimes that Holland's on the bench. Obviously, you know, they play so many competition. Holland needs rest, you know, like any other player. And the 9 is playing just as well as Holland. Obviously, Holland is Holland. To an extent, you know. Yeah, to an extent. He's playing just as well in the form that he drops back. He associates himself with the midfielders and wingers, and it's just something incredible to see how a system doesn't depend on a player. And I think City is one of those teams, and I think Milito is trying to replicate that in the terms of the levels of what is Liga MX.
Yeah, and he has done that because, I mean, you take out Piojo Alvarado and Armando and other key players, then there's Santi Sandoval that steps up, or Marin, who surprisingly has stepped up like incredibly well. In defense as well, no Romo, no Dani Aguirre from injury, and then there's Campillo, and then there's Castillo, and who else was playing center back?
They had Sepulveda in at the end.
Tiva Sepulveda, or Miki Tapias, or Miguel Gomez. You know, there's, like you said, it's just a system that's been working out for them. These players trust Milito, and I'm not going to be surprised if we see a Chivas versus Pumas final. That'd be sick. You know, first versus second, two of arguably Mexico's most historic, biggest fan bases, probably in all of Mexico. I think that'd be a crazy ass final.
You know, back to back semifinals have been 1 through 4th, and if it's a Chivas, I mean, if it's a Pumas Chivas final, it'd be back to back to back. That's 1 versus 2.
Mm-hmm.
So does this mean that? Like, what does this mean at that point?
That the Liguilla should just be.
Should the
I mean, it
Liguilla
makes it
just
fun, you know. Obviously, this is what makes Liga MX different. But like, if it's always gonna be between 1 and 2, might as well just make it like a full. I mean, that's conversation for a different video. But might as well just at that point just make it into a regular league phase. All right, now let's move over to Pachuca versus Toluca. Pachuca eliminated the bicampeón Toluca, so we're gonna officially have a new Liga MX champion, and that means, I mean, it could be Pachuca, Pumas, Cruz Azul, or Chivas. And what's crazy is just how dominant Pachuca were throughout both ties. You know, getting an away win at the Nemesio 10 was just, first off, it doesn't happen often. You know, I don't remember the last team that was able to step foot into El Nemesio 10 and get a win. I know the last team that was able to compete very well and not lose was Juarez. That was last season. I don't know if there's anybody else that you can think of.
Nobody's won in Nemesio 10.
But yeah, I mean, Pachuca have, like I mentioned, they have nothing to lose, and they're playing like that. They have a very strong base, you know, with Ener Valencia, who is a top class striker. I'm not gonna say world class because he's not, but he is a elite level striker.
He's aged.
He's aged, but like, you know, he's good.
He's
you know
good.
what he's gonna give you. Kennedy, who was obviously like a big promising star in the Brazilian league. They got Elias Montiel, who's back from injury. Alexei Dominguez, shout him out. You know, he's on the channel. But he is also a good player. He had an assist for the second goal. Overall, they have a very strong core of also very young players and a lot of Mexican players on the squad. And it's just like that perfect mix of experience, youth, and homegrown academy players that understand what the club's about, the way they want to play. And, I mean, they perfected it to a T against Toluca. And, I mean, also, it's on Toluca, too. They're missing a lot of key players. I think their main focus is the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I think Turco is like, yeah, I mean, a tricampeonato is cool, but, like, I want to take this team to the Club World Cup.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's pretty much the way to think about it, especially at this point.
Exactly. So, I think, overall, I mean, we saw, like, there was a lot of key players being rested, like Angulo, Helinho. I don't know if Paulinho started or if he...
No, Paulinho didn't make on the second leg. Paulinho didn't make the trip.
Okay, so they're
Helinho was on the bench.
They're obviously focusing on the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They thought that what they had on the bench was going to be enough to defeat a team like Pachuca. It just wasn't. But you know, I think Pachuca deservedly go through. And what else?
I mean, like you said, bro, at the first leg, Pachuca scoring just a crazy goal.
Mm-hmm. And then Valencia's goal was crazy.
I feel like once that game ended, it was pretty much over because if you can't win at home, I mean, you're practically done.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, it's not like that Hidalgo was the most imposing, the most...
No, yeah. But it's just...
You know, the craziest atmosphere or anything.
But we saw what Toluca was midweek, you know, when they played LAFC.
LAFC. Yeah.
We saw what it was, you know, everybody showed out. Fucking...
That is the real version of Toluca, right?
Yeah, that is the real version. And you go to the Pachuca game, and it's kind of just like, you know... last weekend, and it's kind of just like they lose 1-0. It looks kind of iffy. You know, Turco isn't too worried about it. You know, we only lost 1-0. I get that. But the real Turco Mohamed that gives priority to a match is fucking fuming after the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you see how he is. He's borderline disrespectful in some senses.
Yeah.
You get me? So, you know, him being so calm after that first leg loss, I was just kind of thinking, it's not that he doesn't care, but he's going to try his hardest to go as much as he can, giving priority to CONCACAF.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if Turco's going to stay after this season or not, but I think that's probably his goal before he leaves. If he's going to leave, then let's get this team into like the highest competition possible when it comes to Liga MX, which is the Club World Cup now.
Yeah.
So make them win against Tigres, which is, I think, on May 30th, the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and then really push them into like the next level. Because, I mean, this Toluca team is... You know, they're still good. They just didn't. I just didn't feel like they prioritized the Liga MX trophy this season. That's pretty much it. Congrats to Pachuca, and now they're gonna face Pumas. It's gonna be another good matchup. Lastly, ending it with Cruz Azul versus Atlas, a 4-2 aggregate scoreline. Cruz Azul at the Estadio Azteca, a 1-0 result in the second leg, and then they were able to. I mean, that was all that's needed. Atlas didn't really show much throughout the game. I mean, we were watching the game for a little bit. It was kind of. It was a sleeper.
Boring. I mean,
it was a sleeper.
Atlas defended well, but what good does it do you to defend well if you're down?
Yeah, they just couldn't create. There was just no opportunity. Cruz Azul is overall a very strong 11, even though they're missing Eric Lira and who's the other player that they took? I think it was just Eric Lira.
That's it.
Who's like the engine in that midfield. But
the engine is Charlie, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like Charlie is actually good in Cruz Azul.
no, yeah, in Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul he's good.
He's a different player. But I mean, we saw what Paradela also does in that midfield. He is. I mean, although he didn't really step up last season, this season in Liguilla, he's looking really good. I mean, we saw the goal that he scored. He took on like 2 players and dropped like with the other Atlas defender, and then it was a well taken goal. And I mean, just with that, that's all they needed. Cruz Azul are through. They're gonna make the semifinals, and now it's gonna set up another crazy matchup between Chivas and Chivas and Cruz Azul, but this time in the semifinals. So I guess we'll just talk about that real quick. Who do you think goes through, bro?
Honestly, I know it's difficult, but I think Chivas, and I think it's because I feel like Chivas is on a revenge tour.
Yeah. First taking out Tigres, now they're gonna think about what happened last season and seasons prior to. They're gonna try to eliminate Cruz Azul.
And I just feel like these Chivas players, just contrary to other generations, where most of the players were from, they grew up playing in Pachuca, like when it was Pizarro and then they took Elias Hernandez from León
or Gulli Peña.
Yeah,
a lot of players that are not from
Guadalajara or
have grown through the system of Guadalajara.
Exactly. Now Chivas kind of like all these players are from Guadalajara. Well, not all of them 100%, right? Most of them either moved there to be in the academy and etc. They've lived their lives there and they've only known one club and one love. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's really what pushes the edge over this Cruz Azul team. And I think especially, people are gonna say, yeah, Chivas lost versus Cruz Azul, and I'm gonna give them the same response I gave you. You think Chivas can't score 2 goals at home?
Yeah.
Especially under this system?
Yeah. I already said no the first time in the last video, so I'm going to say that, Chivas going to go through because playing at home in the second leg, I mean, how we saw how the Akron was, it's going to be like a movie, it's going to be insane. So I think Chivas will be able to get the job done. Like you said, I like that. They're on the revenge tour, and I think that's what's going to help them get into the next round, make the final. I mean, and then Pachuca, Pumas, like I already said, I think Pumas is going to go through. I think they're too good of a team. They scored 3 goals in 30 minutes, and against the Pachuca team, who can also score goals, but I think they're a little bit more limited in comparison. I feel like Pumas are a lot quicker, especially in transition. They will hurt you. It's just defensively where they need to like solidify a little bit. But I think if Efrain Juarez after this game, or after the game against America, he'll see like, okay, you know what, this is what I have to fix, and well, I mean, hopefully, I just want to see a Pumas versus Chivas final. I think that'd be sick.
I feel like it'd be sick, and I feel like it'd be it'd be one of those finals. Growing up, Chivas wouldn't make a lot of finals, so I would rewatch the finals that they did play, and one of the first ones was that loss versus Pumas, that loss, versus Pumas, and just remembering, going to penalties, watching that 2004 final, obviously on repeat. I was too little to experience it. But I know that people who are, mid-20s, early 30s, they have that final, in their hearts, and they definitely want something, to live a story like that again.
Yeah. I think, like I said, it's the 2 biggest fan bases, arguably, in all of Mexico. 2 very important institutions. That would be a movie. It would honestly be a movie. I guess we both are in agreement that it's going to be Pumas and Chivas the final then?
Yep. All
right, bro. All right, let us know what you guys think. What did you think of the matches overall, and then your predictions for the final, who's going to go through. If you guys want to see more Liga MX content, Liguilla content, make sure you guys subscribe, like, check out the platform links down below. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.